So, welcome to the Greatness Engineering Show, where we explore how leadership and inner transformation is happening. And my name is Marae Tulekima. I'm tuning in all the way from Australia. You know me as the Greatness Engineer. And as usual, I bring you the best, and I bring you people who actually share their stories and share their knowledge so that you can build on that to go to the next level of your greatness. So, my guest today is Dr. Shanita Nolan, and she will have the opportunity to introduce herself. She is a coach, transformational coach, and she also, work in the intersection of leadership, faith, and healing. And that's the focus that we're going to have today on the show. So sit tight, have your pen and paper ready, and make sure you participate. If you watch the show live, just be part of the conversation. If you have any question for the Dr. Shanika, just make sure you ask the question, and we will be able to address the issue. So let's bring Dr. Shanika now, and so get ready for a great conversation on leadership, healing, and faith. So don't go anywhere. We will start now. To another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show, the show that is brought to you by the Marae Tulekima Global Leadership Organization.
Feel is important is if you just look at the word compassion, when it's behavior, it's something that can be learned, and it is something that we can embody through habits and through our daily action.
To get this idea that if we interject this wisdom intentionally, I call them needle movers. It's the needle mover that's missing.
Don't deprive the world of your greatness. Please. Don't do that anymore. Dare to excel, dare to be sexy, dare to be you, dare to be the best version of yourself. Impact yourself positively, and from there impact others. And you are not alone.
So welcome, Dr. Shanita. Welcome to the Greatness Engineering Show. It is a pleasure to have you and to talk to you today on a very important subject, which is, looking at the intersection between leadership, healing, and faith. But before we start our conversation, just wanted you to introduce yourself. Let us know who you are and any important thing that we need to know about you.
Great morning. I am Dr. Shanita Nolan. And before anything, I am a woman led by God's grace who is driven by purpose. I am also a leadership expert and coach with a focus on servant leadership. I'm a breakthrough sensei, and an empowerment speaker and an author, also a podcast host of The Widow's Lounge, and also an author.
Wow, that's impressive, isn't it? And I hope the listener will they actually have their pen and paper, because we're going to learn so much today from you, and really get some really good insight on the leadership and healing and the faith, how it comes together. And when I'm looking at your journey, I was just reading through your bio. I can see that it span, you have leadership, healing, and faith. But what was the defining moment for you, where you realized that those three things actually were working together, and you really need to master them and integrate them to be a good leader?
So I think that everything, first of all, everything from my journey from the very beginning intersected with faith. And I had the distinct opportunity to have a spiritual mentor. My first spiritual mentor was actually my grandmother, who was not in a boardroom, but was still leading in her home, leading in the community, and leading in her church. And she came alongside of me and she taught me the importance of servanthood. She taught me everything that I know about God and leading and caring for others and being a woman of integrity and character. Like I never, no matter what the situation was, she remained consistent in who she was. And so she prepared me ahead of time. She told me, first of all, that following Christ is a great responsibility. And also following Christ is also being a leader, because you're influencing the lives of others through your life. And how important that it was for me to be an example. And also that it was a weighty responsibility. It would not be easy. There would be some really great times and there would be some times of trouble. And it's amazing because she said that to me, but never would I have known that I would have walked the journey that I've walked, because before I was 18, I had been gang raped, I had been sexually abused, I was in a home with immature parents who were ill-equipped to parent. They didn't know anything about empathy or care. They knew how to put a roof over our heads and how to, feed us and things of that nature, but they were not emotionally equipped as parents. And so those adverse childhood experiences, my father was a Vietnam vet. He came back with PTSD. And at that time, that wasn't a term that was used in society. And to address his pain, he used alcohol and drugs. And so I saw all of these things and experienced all these things as a child. But I always went back to my faith, and I always went back to the wisdom that my grandmother poured into me. And although I didn't really realize that saying that she always talked to me about, God, you know, turning things around for my good and his glory. And that, you don't really understand that as a child. But as life continued and I continued to experience life in amazing and in very traumatic ways, that leader began to be developed in me, that perfection, that character, that integrity, all of those things that she has spoken to me about. God was building those things to me, in me, within the fire. So I was being forged in the fire, my faith, my leadership, and who I have become and am still becoming as a woman and as a leader. And so when those formal leadership opportunities came to me, I understood the responsibility that entailed. And so I was able to also come alongside others in my community and those whom I led directly to pour into their lives and to make sure that I was being an example that echoes, not someone that just had the formal leadership title, but yet did not exude character, integrity, and empathy and all of the things that are important for anyone who is a leader.
And I like what you said is that you need, it's not just about the title, and obviously you had all those trauma that you had to manage through and really find a purpose. And like you said, with God, it actually helped you to really redefine yourself and find a purpose to continue and to lead and to be an example, because we see a lot of people calling themselves leaders, but they've actually never actually went through any crisis for them to really earn the title. And that's very important to highlight, is that it's not just about the title, it's about demonstrating this leadership and living this leadership on a day-to-day basis. And I can see, as a result of all that you went through and being an example, you are affectionately called the servant leadership whisperer. And I just wanted you to explain what it is, why you got this, you've called the servant leadership whisperer, and what does it mean, in among everything that you've lived so far. So what is it? Why?
So for me, being a servant leadership whisperer, first of all, understanding that leaders serve. A lot of leaders think that people are supposed to serve them, but no, we serve. We are the example. We go before everyone else. And we take ownership and responsibility for our actions, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We are the example. And we are also the ones that are on the front line of every situation, everything that happens. And so I believe in servanthood. I believe in serving others. I believe in showing others that they matter, the things that they do matter, the work that they do matter, and how I'm going to be there for them, to uplift them and to be on that journey with them. They're never alone. And I've served ever since I was a child. That's all I know to do. And that's what we were created and purposed to do. But so many have this prideful, uptight attitude that's believing that someone owes us. But it doesn't take much to come along beside others, to empower them, to show them empathy and to care, and to come alongside them to do the work. Because when everyone lifts, the load is truly lightened. But when you think that everyone is supposed to do and you're supposed to sit or to walk with this title, I'm better than you, then that is not something that I subscribe to. So you don't see me, the people that I'm, even in my home, I don't ask my children to do something that I'm unwilling to do. Yes, they have had their own things, chores and things of that nature that they had to do, but I have them out there serving too, because that's how the world gets better, when we're out there serving. We're out there in the midst of our communities and meeting needs and sharing our gifts, talents, and abilities and our life experiences. And that's how we gain credibility. That's how we gain trust. And people know that we're human, because we're able to show the human side of us, but also appreciate, honor, and respect the humanity in others as well.
And I like this last thing. We have to know that leaders are human, and sometimes leaders have trauma, and they're really neglecting their own healing, and they don't really know that it can actually affect the way they lead. So why do you believe healing is essential for effective leadership and really continue to have a sustainable leadership and a positive leadership?
When you're not healed, you're not whole, and you're ineffective. And I always say, from a faith perspective, that limits your fitness for the kingdom work that we've been designed and created to do. We cannot fulfill our godly mission if we're not fit. And that means if we don't take the time to rest, to be restored, to be renewed, and to seek healing. It's necessary, and it's a responsibility. And I didn't mention this earlier, but I've also had my own mental health journey that I've been going on. And so I serve as an advocate and an example to destigmatize mental health opportunity. I call them opportunities because it's an opportunity for me, again, as a leader, to come aside others and to share my story and to encourage others to get the help and the healing that they need. Because a leader who is fit, who is whole, who is renewed, and who is healed, those are the ones that can be most effective. You cannot be effective if you're not healed. And what's going to come out of you? First of all, it will manifest into physical challenges. It will also may come out in aggression. All different types of things can happen when we're not healed and we're not whole. And whether you're leading formally or informally, I think it's a responsibility to take care of yourself.
And that's the issue sometimes, because people think because you are a leader or you have the title of being a leader, you don't have to show vulnerability. You have to always show that you're strong, and yet you can really be hurt and, like you said, not be ill of certain trauma, and really you just show a face that is not really reflective of what you're going through. So we're going to have a break, and then we will be back to continue this very, insightful and really, important conversation with Dr. Shanita Nolan. And if you're joining us, we're talking about the intersection between leadership, healing, and faith. So don't go anywhere. We will be back in a few minutes.
None of us know everything. We don't. And you can learn from a baby, and you can learn from an older wisdom. And I think what we need to do in regards to this next generation is learn to sit and listen to their point. So once we listen to them, and the thing is, it's not what we say, it's how we say it to them. Because they may be younger, but it's all about respect. If we respect them, they will respect us.
Getting into film, it is a extension of nursing to me, because nurses are storytellers, because throughout our career, stories have been told to us. I've taken care of patients that were in their 90s and survived the Holocaust. And so each patient has a story. And that's one of the blessings with dialysis. I did acute dialysis, so a lot of my patients were critically sick on a ventilator. But when I got there with my machine, they looked at me as the savior, because that was kind of like the last ditch effort. Let's call in the dialysis team. And I had an opportunity to say, tell me about Mr. Smith, because he's on a ventilator. He can't speak for himself. And I would hear from the grandkids, the wife, the cousins, and they would tell me all kind of stories. And I think it's just so ironic now, almost 60 years old, being in film and being able to share stories that really impact people, because a lot of times when you're going through health challenges, you feel like you're all alone, but you're not. There's a large population of people.
We have a full support system that really makes us unique, but that requires a lot of partnership to make that happen. So beyond the big money, there's a lot that you can donate in terms of your talent, your expertise, and your networks. And so please follow us. You'll learn more, be interested, be curious about helping young African men and women. And you will be surprised how much you can actually have an impact. And that's the one I think many people think, well, what am I going to do? I'm not going to be able to change the world. You will have that impact. Don't think that you don't. It's the biggest barrier to keep you from getting involved. And when you don't think that you can, I can promise you, Amina can tell you, anything that you can provide will absolutely help. It will go much further than you can possibly imagine.
Hey everyone to have the opportunity to continue to experience a life change now over and over and over again. And in doing so, inspire others with hope. Like I said before, hope, help other people excel. Hope, help other people enjoy life. Hope, help other people every single day. Why? Because they too deserve the opportunity to soar. Soar. That's right. Seize opportunities and rise. Soar. Seize opportunities and resurrect. Soar. Seize opportunities and rejuvenate their life as well. Life, live intentionally for eternity now, because there's no other way. And
so we are back. We are back with Dr. Shanita. And like I mentioned before we left, we are talking about leadership and the intersection with leadership, faith, and healing. And so I just want to say hello to Tamika. Tamika, thank you very much for being with us. Yes, it is a very interesting, important conversation, good conversation for all of us. As we all leader in a way, so it is important that we have this type of conversation. And I just wanted to ask you, Dr. Shanita, you are the founder of the cycle of trust and leadership. So just wanted to know, through that organization, what do you do and how do you help leaders, especially in such a high pressure environment like we are right now? How can you help leaders to build and rebuild themselves? Because a lot of them go through some challenging experiences, and really help them to focus as well on growing themselves while they inspiring and also serving the community.
Well, first of all, Circle of Trust, we develop leaders, helping them to grow in competence, in character, and in compassion. But there's a focus on self-awareness, because you cannot grow if you are not aware. Mm-hmm. And that means awareness of your strengths, your lesser strengths, being emotionally intelligent, understanding any barriers to your growth. Maybe you're stuck because of something that transpired in the past. We had this one leader that I had been working with, and she had been hurt by women in the workplace. And she started her own company because of that. And she said if it was legally possible, she would not hire any women, because that's how much hurt she had experienced from other women in the workplace. And even she was very guarded. So helping her to break through that and to understand that all women are not the ones that hurt her. It was those women. So working on the mindset, the attitudes, healing and breakthrough, and also building up other core leadership skills, communication skills, decision making, and all of those things. And also what I've learned from my years of leadership development, that imposter syndrome is real. And so breaking through that as well. And then having them to truly understand what it means to be a leader. And it's just not those individuals who are in formal leadership positions, but those who are informally leading, who don't even realize that they're leaders. They think that means they have to have a title. No, you're a leader because you're influencing others. And so let's take an opportunity to learn how to positively influence yourself first, because it all starts with you. So it's that self-leadership, positively influencing others, leading up, leading down and across, and all of those types of things. And so those are some of the things that we do at Circle of Trust Leadership. We also work with young leaders, so youth, building up their leadership capacity, preparing them for life with life skills, financial literacy, decision making, and helping them also to work on their attitudes and to understand their strengths as well.
And that's an important work. And Tamika was, she's watching, and she, like you said, it's a very important conversation because it touch, leadership touch every level of our life. So not only the professional life, but also the personal life. So it is important that we know how we lead, and we improve and take the opportunity to grow as well. And one question that I have is, having worked, because you've obviously been doing, this work for quite some time, for decades now, and just wanted to know, I mean, you having led across private sector and public and government, so what leadership gaps do you see the most often, especially now, because there's a lot going on in the world right now, and how does, as a servant leader, you help close those gaps?
Well, there's a lot of gaps. Let's just say that. But some of the gaps, again, starts with not understanding yourself, or not understanding who you are at the core, and believing you're one way when you're really showing up in a different way, and not being able to create psychologically safe environments where there's inclusivity, where everyone has an opportunity to share, and you also have an understanding of the strengths of your team, the members of your team, and cultivating those strengths as well. Also, there's another gap is listening. People just don't listen. The whole communication, people have an understanding or belief that they're communicating, but they're not. And having to help improve those. And then also having that whole mindset, inward mindset, where you're totally focused on your needs, your wants, your desires, and you're seeing others as objects or obstacles to getting what you want, instead of operating from an outward mindset where you see people as human beings who have needs, desires, and feelings just like you, and really working through those types of things, among so many other things. But those are some of the top things. But that self-awareness is definitely key, because it all starts with there. And then the belief system and the mindset, because you can train and try to develop people all you want, but if that mindset doesn't shift, it's all for nothing. They might learn a few tools.
Yeah.
But really that mindset has to shift, and because behavioral change is not always, in most cases, is not sustainable if that mindset continues to remain the same.
So mindset, self-awareness, and the mindset, where it is key. So I hope, I can see that Tamika just commented here. She agrees with the self-reflection, which is key. And yes, so that's something. If you don't know yourself, if you can't lead yourself, how are you going to make sure that you can lead others? That's a key thing to address, definitely. And in your experience, I mean, obviously the culture of some organization, because the thing is, you might know yourself, and then you also have to align with the culture of your organization. And the question that I have is, how can organization create a culture where, the performance and the compassion are really taken care of, or even highlighted, instead of just the competitive part of things? Because we see a lot right now that it's a very competitive environment competitive and spirit in most of the organization, especially private organization. So how do we manage that?
Well, I can say that the competitive, cutthroat type environments, they're toxic, number one.
Mm-hmm.
And so individuals who find themselves in those types of environment, part of knowing themselves is knowing what they value. And when they're in workplaces or environments that are incongruent with their values, I mean, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to stay and complain and conform, or are you going to move on, or are you going to be a change agent where you can be? Because I've definitely worked myself in organizations where, and the thing about the culture that you mentioned, it may not be embedded throughout the entire organization. It may be in certain parts of the organization. But as a leader, you can influence your environment to a certain degree. You may not be able to, influence everything from the top, but from where you are. So it is an opportunity to influence and make a difference where you are. And like I said, I've been in situations like that where a great portion of the workforce may have been competitive or toxic or even cutthroat, where, people were fighting against one another, departments fighting, members of the executive team, not getting along. And so to me, I saw that as an opportunity with my team to cultivate, something completely different that was uplifting, that they can be in an environment that they want to come to every day, because we spend the most of our time in the workplace. And so if we're going to those places and they're toxic and we're already dealing with the stress and the life responsibilities, and then you have to go, it weighs on a person. And so as the leader, I thought that it was my responsibility to intercede on behalf of my workforce, and also to cultivate a positive, uplifting, respectful, psychologically safe work environment for them. And so they had that little safe space, but also to equip them when they stepped outside of our, little happy space. How do they show up and conduct themselves and be an example? Because we don't have to conform. It's a decision. But I think each individual who is in that situation has to decide. And so many get stuck and feel like they have to stay. No, you don't have to stay.
And that's the internal debate that people will actually end up in this situation have. It's like, okay, do I have to stay? Do I have to go? And sometimes people decide to stay because they will find a reason to stay, even if they know that it is actually disempowering them to stay in that type of environment. So we're gonna have another break, and then we will come back to for the end of the show. So if you're joining us just now, my guest today is Dr. Shanita, and we are talking about leadership and especially the intersection between leadership, healing, and faith. So don't go anywhere, and we will be back in a few minutes. So a big shout out to Janelle Harris, one of the sponsors of the show. She's been working with us since we started 6 years ago, and we're so happy that the She Exists magazine is going places, and it is just amazing to see the impact that it is creating in the US, but also around the world. So we are back. We are back with Dr. Shanita, and one question I wanted to ask you is, as you do all this work and, empowering work and helping new leaders, emerging leaders, what is the legacy that you want to leave?
Obviously, I want to leave a legacy of, I call it, actually, it's called my RISE framework. And it's the RISE Legacy Framework. And it's built on 4 pillars. And it's resilience, it's integrity, it's service, and example. And that guides how I lead and support others. And it also aligns with my calling and who I am at the core. And so I've been actually going out and teaching others. I was actually a part of a book anthology called Leadership Unveiled, and my chapter was on leadership legacy. And I feel like I'm going to pay homage to my beloved and late great grandmother, Medea Dorabelle Coney, who poured into me and who was the first, besides my parents, she was that first leader in my life who showed me the power of leading with integrity, who taught me everything about resilience, because she didn't have an easy life at all. But the fact that no matter what was going on in her life, she was always consistent. Because you see so many people living compartmental lives. They're one way at church, they're one way at home, they're one way at work, but she was the same all the time, no matter when life was easy or when it was tough, which was most of her life. And then that leading with example and leaving an echo that extends beyond time. And so I have my books, I have that God has given me my life journey that I'm sharing with others, equipping and developing others and empowering them to be great leaders, and to serve others, and to care and be compassionate with themselves also, because we talk about love and loving others, but so many people, especially women that I've met on my journey, they don't love themselves and they don't recognize their value and their worth. Mm-hmm. And so that is my legacy, to keep being an example, keep serving, keep rising, even when it's difficult, keep walking with integrity and godly character, and keep being an example.
Fantastic. This is really powerful. Keep going. And that's what this show is all about, is, bringing you all the tools, the philosophy, the stories for you to keep going up, to keep going to the next level of your greatness. This greatness is there. You have it. So it's just a matter of not giving up and keep growing, keep, pushing, because there's, it's an unlimited journey. So there's no, there's no full stop. You have to go to the next level, and that's the important thing. So thank you so much, Dr. Shanita, for your inspiration, and also for sharing your story and the insight and your expertise as well, and experience. It's been really important to have this conversation and to get someone who've actually lived it, and now empower the community, and empower and create new leaders, and empower the emerging leaders as well. So how do people connect with you?
They can connect with me on Facebook, Shanita Nolan. I actually have 2 accounts, one with my late husband and myself, and one just has a single photo of myself. I'm also followed my Widow's Lounge podcast on Spotify or Buzz Sprout. Also, ShanitaNolan.com. You can purchase some of my books or find out some more things about me. And then also CircleOfTrustLeadership.com.
Fantastic. And so you have all the information, and I will also put it after the show so that, if you want to connect with Dr. Shanita, you can continue this conversation, because obviously there was a lot that we have discussed today, but that's not all, and you can definitely learn much more from her. So I encourage you to connect, and we have Janelle here. So she just arrived. She will catch up with the replay, and also thanking us too, for this conversation. So before we leave the show, any last last message, important message you want to leave the audience with before we leave the platform?
Yes, I want you to remember that you can be powerful and human at the same time. You can lead with strength and you can still honor your wounds. Purpose isn't born in perfect seasons, it's born in the places God restores. So when we rise from those places, we change our families, our workplaces, our communities, and the legacy we leave. That's the heart of my work and yours too.
Thank you very much again. And as you could see, today's conversation reminds us that leadership is not just about doing more. It's about, becoming more. And that's what it's all about. Don't stop. Don't, always go to the next level. And when leaders, choose healing, they lead with clarity. So the healing part is important. Yes, the leadership is important, but the healing part is important, and faith is also important. So and you can see that when leaders anchor in faith, they lead with courage. And when leadership flows from, the whole sum of all of those three aspects, it creates, a culture where people don't just perform, they thrive. And that's what we're asking you to do. So go and thrive. And again, thank you, Dr. Shanita, for reminding us that, greatness is, it's not, engineers from, the outside, but from the inside. The leaders, as leaders, we have to know who we are, and then we can, start on a good foot, and then grow from there. So thank you very much, and thank you for all the listeners, Tamika, Janelle. Thank you for everything. Thank you for being with us, and also Janelle, thank you for being our sponsor for for so long. It's always a pleasure to have you as well, watching the show. So thank you. I will be back for another episode of the Greatness Engineering Show next week. And next week we will be going to South Africa. So thank you very much. And you enjoy your day, and happy Valentine to everyone. It's about love today. So first, love yourself and love, the people around you, and make sure that you lead with love. So don't go, and we expect to see you next week again. Take care. Bye.